you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for standing. I thought you were leaving. Before I enter into my speech, I'm an old guy. I'm a Trekkie, and I understand that George Takai Sulu is here. He's my hero. And I don't know if I can see him. I can't see anything, actually. But I want to just say that there he is. I'm very proud of you. I'm the only Hispanic American governor, the only Hispanic ever to run for president. And I want to just say that in Star Trek, I don't understand why the Hispanic, Khan, Ricardo Montalban, is always the bad guy. But anyway, thank you very much, Brian and Heidi, for the great introduction and inviting me to be here this evening. It's a real honor for me to speak the Human Rights Campaign, your annual black tie gala in Los Angeles. For a politician, I believe it's a very important invitation. I also want to say that it's great to be here with Bill Maher. I'm sucking up to him. I want to be on your show again, Maher. Let me congratulate you on today's Equality Award. I also want to recognize a crusader for respect and equal rights under the law. This guy is a rock star. HRC President Joe Solomonides, whose leadership and support have been crucial for my New Mexico initiatives. You have been engaged in our fight in New Mexico for equality. I need to admit something. It wasn't easy for me to be here tonight, not because of the issues. I'm proud, always proud, to stand with the Human Rights Campaign for domestic partner rights and against discrimination of any kind. And you will never have to prod me to make a stand with you to do what is right for you and your families. No, the reason I have to leave is I called in my New Mexico legislature into a special session to keep pushing my agenda, which is a full Domestic Partner Rights Act. Now, it was a special session. It lost by one vote in the Senate on the last night, just 8 nights ago. And the next day, with the legislature adjourning until next year, we thought we had secured one more vote, but we couldn't get it to be considered on the floor of the Senate. So I said, not good enough. Even though we had an incredibly productive session in my state, we raised the minimum wage to $7.50. We ended predatory lending. We had tax cuts, Democrat for tax cuts, all across the board for working families. We got 20% energy from our renewable sources. We've overtaken California as a clean energy state. We passed medical marijuana. I said, boy, I didn't know that was one of your issues, too. I said not good enough. I said to my legislature, you've got to come back, and a few other things. I want a domestic partnership bill so I can sign it right now, this year, soon. And I'm pushing this bill because I believe all families deserve our respect, no matter their race, creed, sexual orientation. I think people realize that this bill is a victory for fairness and equality, as well as to open hearts and open minds. So far, my state Senate has not agreed, but I'm going to keep pushing, and that's why I'm going back home. And this bill is as important to me as it is to you. So, if you excuse me after my speech, I have to go because I have to do this work. Now, I want to say to you, this bill also illustrates the key reason that I am running for president. I don't take just votes. I don't debate issues. I actually get things done. And I know that your top priorities this year are passing federal hate crime and workplace discrimination legislation. I want you to know I don't just support these bills because we did it 2 years ago in New Mexico. They were my bills. And in my first legislative session in 2003, right after I was elected governor, we fought and passed and signed the first hate crimes law in New Mexico's history, legislation extending civil rights protections based on sexual orientation and gender identity. We won that one by one vote. I ordered personally through executive order that access to health insurance and benefits be extended to domestic partners of state employees. And now I am fighting for full and equal rights for all domestic partners, including gay and lesbian families. Now, I also appoint gay and lesbian individuals to important posts throughout my administration, in the cabinet, division directors, boards and commissions. And I'll do the same if I'm elected president, leading an administration that truly looks like America. Now, I've done all this in a red state, a conservative state. But with the right leadership, you can get important legislation like this done. And working together, I am convinced that we can accomplish the same on the national level. I love what Brian said. And you should take heed on what he said. But before you cast your vote for any national candidate, and I'm not campaigning here, sort of, you have to ask, do they talk the talk, but do they walk the walk? Can they get it done? And as governor, I've gotten these things done. My state, New Mexico in the West, more generally, has always been a region that respects individual rights. What is changing in that this live and let die attitude is now being extended to issues of sexual orientation, from Hawaii to Maine, from Los Angeles to Albuquerque. And I applaud this shift, and I'm proud to be a part of it moving forward. This country is tired of the politics of hatred and division. What we need in this country is somebody that can bring us together. And we are fed up. We are fed up with Karl Rove's machinations and Ann Coulter's ignorant epithets. Actually, we're fed up with Ann Coulter, period. Now, in the last election, if the last election showed us anything, it revealed that what voters want is positive, inclusive vision for the future. One that respects all Americans who work hard and try to do what is best for their families. This inclusion and this optimism allowed us to win back the Congress and take a majority of the governorships in 2006. And it's going to be crucial in winning the White House in 2008. And I know what it takes to win across this country, in Iowa and New Hampshire, 2 states I just picked at random. And now California, you're important, February 5th. Your primary, you know, in the past, candidates have come just to pick your pockets because your primary was so late. Now candidates have to come to win your votes, and you're the biggest state in the union. And I was proud, and the Human Rights Campaign was a key ally in the success of many races for governor in Colorado, and Maryland, and Massachusetts, and Wisconsin. And I want to personally thank you, as chairman of the Democratic governors for your help. We now have 28 Democratic governors representing 295 electoral votes. That's another message that I have tonight, and that is that governors can win. We have Democratic governors in some of the reddest states in the country, in Oklahoma, in Wyoming, Montana, Arizona, Kansas, and Tennessee. Democratic governors can compete anywhere in this country. And if I might not be so bold, why not a Democratic governor for president? Now, on the coast and in the heartland, the mainstream of this country wants a leader that will bring this country together and help us decide a better future. That's my message. As a Hispanic American, I've known in my life what it is to be different, to be singled out. And throughout my entire career, I have fought against discrimination in the Congress, as Energy Secretary at the United Nations, and now as governor. And I want to just say something about don't ask, don't tell. It's got to go. It's got to go. If I'm elected president, I will end this disastrous, disrespectful policy of don't ask, don't tell. And once again, I am not a latecomer to this issue. I voted against this initiative when I was in Congress, and I was one of the Democratic whips with President Clinton, and I continue to oppose it today. It makes no sense to turn away and turn out well-qualified recruits at a time when our country needs them most. There are approximately 65,000 gay and lesbian soldiers serving in our military. They are no less patriotic, and their lives and sacrifice are no less valuable because of their sexual orientation. And there are approximately 1 million homosexual veterans, including Marine Staff Sergeant, a war hero who is with us tonight, Eric Alva, who deserves our thanks. Eric Alva is a war hero. Eric Alva deserves America's thanks, not a lecture. Homosexuality, as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff said, is not immoral. Asking someone to hide their identity and devaluing their sacrifice is. Gay and lesbian families deserve respect, and if I'm elected president, a principled stand with you to fight for it. And what we don't need is constitutional amendments designed to exclude supportive, devoted couples. We need to extend the rights due to all of us as Americans. The right, for instance, to visit a sick or dying partner in the hospital. The right to make necessary legal and financial decisions when a partner can no longer do so. The right to equal employment opportunity. And the right to protection from violent prejudice. I've spent my career pushing this agenda because it's the right thing to do. And so today, let me conclude with another pledge. I've had international experience at the United Nations. It was said in the introduction that I've negotiated the release of prisoners in Iraq and North Korea, in Sudan. I was in Darfur 2 months ago, and we got a ceasefire. But there's human tragedy there. There's gender-based violence. There's rape. There's pillaging. There's death and destruction. And I believe that our foreign policy should be based on democracy and human rights, on eradicating international poverty, and doing something about refugees and global climate change, and having a policy that we're not known as the nation that espouses the Guantanamos or the Abu Ghraibs, as a nation that considers torture a policy of the government, a nation that today violates and says that Geneva Accords are not important and gets out of the Kyoto Treaty. That is not the America that you and I have known. And so I would like to say to you that as president, I believe there is one issue that deserves the support of governments on the right, on the left, liberal and conservative, European, African, Asian, American, Latin American, and that is the fight against AIDS. And I pledge to you, if I'm elected president, that this will be the highest priority in our foreign policy. And the AIDS Commission that is appointed and disappointed and is not active will be a high priority in my administration. And the AIDS Commission chairman will be the Vice President of the United States. So I thank you. I appreciate this invitation. I know that there are a lot of candidates that are rock stars that have a lot of bucks that, are way maybe ahead a little bit in the polls. But I promise you, by the way, I am moving up. I'm getting up there. And I want to say to you that this race is 10 months away. And I know this is a bipartisan audience. I did see one Republican back there. I want to just say to you that it's an honor for me to be with you. And I just hope that as we pursue the political season, that remember that America traditionally has been a nation that respects human rights and diversity and non-discrimination. So I hope you're smart in your efforts to put your considerable political power and resources behind causes and efforts that stand up for all of us. God bless you and thank you.